Hey guys, and welcome back to Alyssa's Things. It's your girl Devin, and yes, I'm back from a small hiatus. But while you're here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Alyssa's Things by Devin. And today we're going to be covering 9 tips on how to find events to be a vendor at. This is just a list of tips and tricks that I use to find places to sell wholesale items, be a vendor, get an artist booth, or market of one of my businesses that I have. Step number 1, what do you sell? The biggest thing about finding an event for you to post at or do a pop-up shop at is to make sure that the items that you're selling match the event. Make sure it's a good event and that the type of customers that you're selling to will be at the event that you'll be posted up at. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that certain events are off limits. It just means that certain shows are off limits, so to speak. It just means that you want to make sure that when you're there, that people are interested in your items and they're in the mood to buy that type of item. Another handy trick is to, even if your item doesn't necessarily match the event, make sure you have a marketing strategy that allows your item to be sold to anyone. I've seen a candle lady who sells candles make a grip, a nice profit at a Comic-Con in the middle of Mississippi. So it's not always so much as what the item is, just make sure that your presentation fits the event that you'll be at. Now, I don't think that selling candles at a gun show would work, but if you sell anything in that realm or can push it towards that, or sell a fragrance of candles, or do a quick line of candles to appeal to that type of group, go ahead and do that. But you just want to make sure that you're there and you have an item that you know for a fact is going to sell. Step number 2, Google. Google is your best friend. I say Google is your best friend because it allows you to just get a general idea of what's going on. It allows you to find different websites to pull from. It just gives you a broad spot to start your search. One thing I do is when I'm going through just looking for events for the next couple months, I go ahead and mark my calendar right then and there. This way it helps me stay organized to know that, I may have something this week. If everybody sends me back information that I want to know and I'm interested, I can kind of start putting things in place to say, okay, these two are on the same weekend. These are back to back. You just want to make sure you start your organization, start your list at Google. Number 1, it allows you to kind of cover your Tri-City area or whatever the case may be, but it also allows you to kind of get an idea of what you're really looking for. Step 3, the types of shows that you can do. A lot of people are looking for pop-up shows or vendor fest, but let's not forget about the art shows. Let's not forget about festivals, carnivals if you do a lot of food, craft shows, transient vendors where you can post up in popular spots where you're not necessarily at an event. There are Comic-Cons, which I do a lot, church events where they'll have it where people can set up and come in. Fashion shows, sometimes fashion shows will have vendors set up and you can come in there if you do a lot of apparel or accessories. And again, pop-up shops. And the best thing about pop-up shops is that people know that if I'm going to a pop-up shop, I'm going there to spend money. And that's really what you're looking for. A lot of people are selling items this day and age that aren't necessarily items that a person needs. So you need to make sure that the person with the disposable income to buy your item, especially if it's a repeat item, something that keeps them coming back, you want to make sure that you're in the vicinity of people who came out to spend money. One place that I stay away, I live here in the Memphis area, and I try to stay away from events that are hosted on what's called Beale Street in Memphis. And I like to do that because a lot of people are just walking around to walk around, and they may not want to buy a big 30-inch painting and walk around for the rest of the afternoon. So I make sure that wherever I'm at, I have people that came to buy art, came to buy this, came to buy that, and they'll be able to walk around with it and it not be a burden because, where am I going to put that? I'm not going to walk around with that all day. So you just want to make sure that wherever you're at, you're finding places that work with what you're trying to do. Step number 4, look for local event websites. Look for places like Eventbrite or sometimes cities, you'll have different influencers who will create a website that strictly discusses what's going on in the city. With this option, it allows you to find places that are normally legit because it's normally a reputable website like Eventbrite, and it allows you to see what's coming up within the next few months, because most people that are hosting events, they're going to put it out within a decent amount of, with enough time ahead. So that allows you to see, okay, in 6 months from now there's going to be an event, in 3 months there's going to be an event. So it allows you to steer yourself in a better direction of what's really going on. The best thing about this is it's a little bit better than Google because it's right in your area and lets you know what's coming up in the next months to be, and it also provides contact information for the host of the event. And again, once you start looking at these websites, go ahead and start jotting down those dates so you can kind of say, okay, this is the Summer Vendor Fest, this is the Fall Vendor Fest, this is the blah blah, this is the blah blah, this is the blah blah. So when you start getting your responses, you can kind of categorize and move things around and say, okay, this is what I'm interested in, this is the booth rent, and you can have a little bit of a better system to really see what you can do, especially if you're going to be doing this on a consistent basis. Step number 5, look up upcoming travel and tourist bloggers. There are a lot of people out here that are trying to do like I'm doing and get their content out there, and they're putting in the legwork, they're putting in the footwork, the hard part really. And a lot of times if you follow these people or you check out their website, link is in the bio, it allows you to get a more in-depth place. They're a lot more detailed than Eventbrite or Google, and it lets you know what's local. And a lot of times they find some of these small gems that are smaller and may have smaller booth rents or what have you, and it just provides a more intimate experience and allows you to start really honing in on shows that benefit your business and your product, and it's local. Step number 6, I think that was 6, we're going to start going to current shows. Start going to events, especially if you find a free event, do a walk around. Take a look at the other vendors, look at their setup, see what they're selling, and then once you find somebody that if not similar, but in the same realm of what your product is, go up to them and ask them questions. However, my best advice that I can give is go ahead and purchase something from them. Let them know that you're liking what they're selling and purchase something for $10 or $15 and then say, hey, how long have you been doing this? Because when I'm at shows, I'm the type of person that's going to give information out for free. Because no matter what, I know my product's going to sell. But sometimes people are a little bit hesitant and they do like to gatekeep. But nothing opens somebody up is more than a little networking, exchange business cards, because you never know. You may hit it off with that person. They can start letting you know about all shows that you do. So I would start doing that as well. This weekend, if you know it's still the summertime, if you still know some people, some free events or some inexpensive events, go in, take a look around, see if that's something you were interested in, that you would have liked to set up, and you can get that information from someone who directly is there in the thick of it, and they can tell you, yeah, I do this ladies events all the time. Well, this is my first time, it's slow rolling, I probably won't come back to this. So it gives you a little bit of the experience, and it gives you some good information as well. But always try to support your local artists or your local vendors when you're trying to get some knowledge out of them. Just keep in mind when you're asking these questions that this is business for you, so this is a business for them. Support them, and you'll be surprised with the information you'll get from people. You know what they say, closed mouths don't get fed. Step number 7. When you're on Eventbrite, when you're on Google, when you're reaching out and you're getting this contact information from people, make sure you're emailing the host. Make sure you're calling the number if they have one provided. And they have a social media, Instagram or Facebook. Someone's normally managing these events because they want vendors at their event. They want that their patrons, when they come in to say, oh, last time I went to ABC events, boy, they had some good shops in there. Boy, I did some damage. So you're going to want to make sure that you're reaching out, you're being professional. Hi, my name is Devin from Melissa's Things, and I was reaching out to see if you had any information for vendor setup. Are you guys still expecting vendors? And don't be weary if you think it's too late. A lot of these event hosts will let you know that the deadline is, the cutoff is, especially for larger events. But some of these smaller events, you'd be surprised. They got that one spot left open. I did a show this past weekend. There was one spot left open. Sent that email, got in, and that was all she wrote. And it was an okay event, but I was able to get in. You know, you want to make sure that you're being professional. Don't DM and say how much it costs to set up a booth. No. Hi, my name is such and such, and I'm looking. They may ask, you know what I'm saying? That's when you want to make sure your social media is up to par, which I'm working on, but whatever. You want to just say, hey, will there be vendors at this event? You can start off with something that simple. Will there be vendors at this event? Yay or nay, you go from there. And even if they say no, thank you for your time. Or appreciate the information. Just make sure you're being professional. You don't have to, it doesn't be an MLA format. But you just want to make sure that you're able to communicate and ask the questions you need to ask. Some people will send you a brochure. You can do your own research. You go from there. But you need to ask, what size is the booth? How much is the booth rent? How long is setup? How long before takedown do you have to be gone? Make a list of questions that you think you need to have answered. Don't send that in the initial email. But once you get back a yay, we're looking for people, go in from there, and this way you'll be able to make your decision on whether or not it's a good event for you. And then step number 8, make sure these events are legit. I know on Facebook, a lot of different cities have like vendor and event show pages, and I've been hearing about a lot of people being scammed out of things. You want to do your research. Just because someone posts and say they're doing events on this day and they've got glitter on their post that they made, you want to look into the owner, look into the host, see if they do events before, read the comments, ask other people if you know people who do events, see if they know anything about the event, Google the name of the event, Google the name of the host, the name of their business, see if there are any bad reviews or anything like that. Make sure it's legit. Make sure you have something that's concrete that you feel comfortable saying, hey, this was a good idea. And preferably try to pay through PayPal. Try to put up some type of safeguard for yourself that in the event that it isn't legitimate, you can get your money back. You know, and then also try not to go too crazy. If you're just starting off and someone tells you it's a large amount of money to set up, and it doesn't seem like that event is going to bring that crowd to support such a large booth rent, because you need to at least make at least 3 times your money back. Put all that into play when you're making the decision on whether or not this seems like it's legit or it's a good idea. And that's why talking to some of those vendors and getting information from people who are already in the business is a good thing. Because you can say, hey, have you ever heard of the pineapple events? Were they good? Oh yeah, I did them for the past 2 years. They were great. Blah, blah, blah. So it just kind of gives you a little bit more confidence to know that what you're doing is best for your business and it will pay off in the end. Because again, remember, this is business. Lastly, you want to make sure you maintain relationships. When you're going up to these vendors asking questions or just trying to network and put yourself out there, make sure that you're leaving a lasting impression. If they ask to see your work, show them your work. Have something on your phone to be able to show someone at the time. Because a lot of people, they don't want a bunch of the same vendors or artists that produce the same type of craft at one event. They want to make sure that their shoppers have an array of things to shop from. So make sure you can always show what it is you do, how long you've been doing it. Make sure that when you're doing events, you clean up behind yourself. My rule of thumb is wherever your spot is when you start it, I always take a picture when I leave. You'll never say Alyssa's things left a mess behind. Even if someone is frustrating you or you feel like you didn't make any money, don't go to that person and say, girl, I ain't even make no money this baby, I'll never come back. Keep that to yourself, because this may have been a fluke for them. Again, it's business. It can be up or down. Every time it's not going to be $1,000 day. Sometimes you'll barely make your booth rent back. So you want to make sure that you're just always positive, always in a good state of mind, respectable, and it's just like you're trying to make your money, they're making their money as well as being a host of events and hosting the liability and the insurances and everything that comes along with setting up an event. And here's a bonus tip for finding places to vendor at. Always check your state and local laws. You want to make sure, do you need a permit to be out here? Do you have to file it on your taxes? You're supposed to be, but some places will give you the paperwork to file your taxes with the county or the city or the state, however it's set up. And you want to make sure that the legitimate side of it is on both sides. You want to make sure that you can file this income on your taxes that you're not selling illegally, that everything is set up so that no one can come tell you to break your booth down after you've spent all that time to set it up. So normally vendors will disclose a lot of that information, but different states are different. I'm in Tennessee. So what works in Mississippi and Arkansas and Kentucky may not be the rules for being a transient vendor in Tennessee. So always do your research before you get ready to go. And like I said, most of the times vendors will let you know, but just always do your own research and have that information in your back pocket. There it is. That's my 9 tips, my 9 steps for finding places for you to become a vendor at. To sell your artwork, to sell your wholesale, to sell your product. So take these notes, go out, do the research, and start finding places for you to set up at and get your business going. Get your side hustle going. Get your wholesale business up and running. Just make sure you stay safe, you do your research, and always watch your back. Thanks for choosing Alyssa's Things, and enjoy the rest of your day.